Hey there guys, how's it going? It's Afraid Not, and today I'm bringing you a first impressions video on the game The Crew. It's an up and coming Ubisoft game that will be released later on this year. I believe it's November the 11th, I think, which ironically is the same day as Halo the Master Chief Edition. So that's going to be a very expensive day. So this is The Crew. It's beta gameplay. I obtained a key from one of the developers actually. I contacted him on Twitter and I was just like, how do I go about getting one of these keys? And he literally followed me on Twitter, DM'd me with a key, and yeah, Bob's your uncle. This is PC gameplay. I don't think they are running a beta actually on consoles just yet. I'm not really too sure why. A lot of games at the moment seem to be coming out on consoles for betas, etc., and it's quite weird to see a PC only beta, which is slightly weird as it is coming out on the Xbox One and the PS4. I don't think it's coming out on last gen consoles. It's basically what this is a racing game or a car game. It's an MMORPG, so basically you start off in a car. Well, I'll tell you what the plot is. Basically you start off as a guy named Alex, and really, without trying to ruin the plot at all, but straight away your brother actually gets shot by a crew go by the name of the 510, and you actually get framed for it. And whilst you're inside, I think you serve about 5 or 6 years inside, and an FBI agent comes to your cell and says, look, would you like to work for the FBI? And your guy Alex says, yeah, no, I'll work for the FBI, anything to get back and be on the right side of the law, etc. And yeah, so he actually joins the FBI, and what the plot of the game really is that you would start at the bottom of this crew called the 510 and work your way up to try and get to the boss, who obviously is the guy that shot your brother. And what I really like about this game is that it's a massive map. The map is absolutely huge, and it is actually designed in the way that America is. It's a USA map, and I think you start off in Detroit, and I mean, I don't really know about much landmarks and stuff across America, really. I know obviously the obvious ones, and but yeah, you start off in Detroit, and then you do your little missions and areas, because not all missions are all races, to be honest. There are like little like car chases, and then there's, you know, got to wreck other cars, and yeah, there's, to be honest, when I played in the beta, I really didn't feel bored at all at any of the missions that they gave me. They was all quite different. They weren't just racing games. There was like, oh, you got to chase someone. As I say, I mean, there's loads of different variants, and especially like this one, you had to, this mission that's just finished here, I had to deliver this car and try not to wreck it. So, you know, it's quite varied, the amount of missions and difference of all the missions that are there. But yeah, on this massive map, you're playing with other people, like other real players, and I really like that. I like that in any game. I mean, I'm quite a big fan of MMORPGs. I love, you know, Star Wars, the Old Republic, and I love the fact that you can run around with anyone, talk to anyone. But things like, you know, Outist Life and things like that, I know it's not an MMORPG, but you know, get what I mean. When you're actually on the same map and you're doing missions, and you can do it either with people or you can do it on your own, it doesn't really matter. And I really like that concept in games, and I feel like, especially with the next gen consoles, they're going to be able to do that a lot more. And we're already starting to see that, especially with Destiny as well. I mean, that's an MMORPG as well. So yeah, I'm really liking this concept at the moment of the way that the games are starting to go. I think the Division is kind of the same, but we don't really know a lot about that. I know obviously you've seen gameplay, but anyway, let's not talk about that. We'll carry on with The Crew. But yeah, yeah, this has got a really, really nice soundtrack to it. That's another thing I noticed at first. I really like the soundtrack, the music, really, really good, and yeah, I can definitely give that a thumbs up. I like the way that on this massive world is that you could start off in New York, and the terrain and everything in New York is exactly the way it would be. And I believe I've read somewhere that they've taken actually some roads actually from like Google Maps and stuff to try and get it as accurate as they possibly can. So you could be in New York and you can drive around it. It's open world. It's, you know, it's like, as I say, I mean, it's like a sandbox game in a way that you can be in New York and then you can go all the way over to LA. It'll take you, I think, about 45 minutes to 50 minutes literally just to drive from one side of the map to the other, and then you go into LA, and then you can obviously drive to Vegas, go and see the Grand Canyon. And obviously when you're in Vegas, the terrain and that is all like it's all sandy, so you really need to change your car, because obviously you get a car and obviously you work your way up, and you adapt your car, and you can either change it or you can buy a new one. But yeah, you got to make it so your car can actually take sand races and sand challenges and things like that if you're in the desert, obviously, or you can go down south into the mountains. It's really, really good, and I really like the design of the map. One thing I like to mention about this is that there has a fast travel option as well. I know that I can be put off with games, I think like Assassin's Creed, the first one hasn't really got a fast travel option, and it's just like, oh, so you get sent to one place and then you have to go all the way back, and it's not exactly just a, you know, 2-minute walk, you know, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I really like the fact that it's got a fast travel option as well. So let's talk about some of the things I didn't particularly like. This game really stuck with 27 FPS on PC, and to be honest, that's not good enough. My graphics card can handle this type of game, and I think it is actually locked, I think, at 27 to 30. I mean, I was getting 30, but 27 was really where I stood, and for games these days, it's just not good enough, especially on the PC. I know on the console you can kind of get away with it. I know Destiny's in 30 frames per second, but on racing games, maybe racing games you can get away with it, but I think to the standard, I mean, I've always kept saying it, standard these days is 60 FPS no matter what you play, and being on PC, it's just inexcusable. The graphics for me were a little bit of a letdown compared to what I have played recently, and again on PC, the texture quality just isn't there. It just doesn't look all that pretty, I have to admit. But I know a lot of time has gone into the gameplay and the way it works on the map and everything like that, and maybe when the full release comes out, it's going to look a little bit better than it did on the beta. You can't expect everything to be perfect on a beta, and I didn't experience any bugs, by the way. That's something that obviously can work in the favour. I didn't experience any bugs, so yeah, it's not really the most prettiest game out, you know, going by the beta anyway. The next thing I put down in my notes as a negative thing was the handling of the cars. Now, don't be put off by that. It feels like the way the cars do in Watch Dogs. If you've played Watch Dogs, you know exactly what I mean. It isn't the best. However, if you play this game enough, you can adapt, and you probably could get on with it really well. For me, I struggled really at the beginning. I normally can pick up any racing game and do quite well at it. I don't know why, it's just racing games I tend to it just clicks with me, like Forza and Formula 1 games, and even MotoGP game, which actually I actually bought MotoGP, but yeah, so racing games for me I can tend to do pretty well at, but this game when I started playing, I did struggle at the time, and I didn't actually play this on mouse and keyboard, by the way. I actually played on a 360 pad. It's really difficult with a mouse and keyboard, again, especially racing games. I mean, with the keyboard, it just doesn't work for me anyway. So I put the handling down as a bit of a negative. You could, you know, if you play it long enough, you're going to get used to it. So it could be a negative, but I just didn't feel it straight away. And the last thing I'm going to mention, something that really bugs me, was the GPS. Now, when you set a waypoint on a map, it gives you this horrible line. Now, you'd expect it just to be on the map, or you expect it to be on the road, but no, it hangs above you like an electrical line or electrical cord line. You know them pylon things that you get. It hangs up. You'll probably see it on the video at some point. So this massive blue line that just is completely wavery. It looks like a cable. It's disgusting. It really is. I saw this and I was just like, no, this just doesn't work for me. If they just kept it on the GPS like Grand Theft Auto or something, see, look, this blue one on top here, it's just awful. I couldn't work with it. I know it's different, and maybe, you know, they're trying to stand out a little bit, but yeah, it just didn't work for me, and I really don't like that, and I wish they'd change that to maybe put it on the road or something like that. But yeah, so is it worth getting? Now, I am going to be buying it after playing the beta. I think there's more pros to it than there are cons, and I like racing games as a person. I think you really need to enjoy racing games or car games, and it looks like it's got a really good skill tree system to it, and there is a lot of customization. Not all of it was unlocked in the beta, so I couldn't really talk about it too much, but there is a lot of stuff coming out for it. I've noticed on other people's channels, on websites. Yeah, I mean, you can change the colour of the car obviously, but then you can put on, I think, all kinds of different paint jobs, and yeah, no, it really is looking good, and with like the tuning of the cars and stuff, it's really in depth, and I think it's something that we're all going to be able to enjoy. So if you like racing games, definitely consider it. I don't know what obviously Drive Club's going to be like if you've got a PS4. Drive Club's coming out I think next month or the month after, and that's a game I'm also looking forward to, but this game maybe not so much, but after playing the beta, I'm really looking forward to it. I just love the open world sandbox type games. It reminds me a lot of Need for Speed Underground 2, and that is the biggest compliment I can give this game, because I love Need for Speed Underground 2. It's my favourite car game of all time, and yeah, so it really does remind me of that. I will be picking it up. I'm now actually really looking forward to it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to cut it off here, and I'll speak to you guys on the next one. Take care.